Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Herpanwo TV and welcome to this video, US election, 1 week on. Yes, it's actually, an entire week has gone past since the voting period for the US presidential election actually started, and this is the 5th video I've done on this subject. Obviously I'm focusing very much on this subject because I happen to think it's so important, and indeed it is so important. So what I'll be doing in this video is giving you a bit of an update on what's happened since then. I'm also going to do something I don't normally do. Before the next comments reply video, in this video, I'm going to answer your comments you put on in the comments boxes of my videos. But I'm only going to do the 4 videos I'm referring to. It's the live streams that I did in the past. I was thinking of doing this one as a live stream, but I thought, nah, it'd take too long. I don't have time. So that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, let's just cover everything that's happened since I last put photos onto celluloid, and an awful lot has happened. As I have explained, we have witnessed something extraordinary. This is something which is unprecedented in history. The presence of electoral fraud, as I explained in the live stream, has happened many, many times. In fact, the United States intelligence services are the worst perpetrator. But in this case, we have witnessed an attempted electoral fraud in the world's second biggest democracy, in a developed Western nation, what's considered very much the epitome of developed Western nations. And there's been very, very obvious electoral fraud. I mean, I predicted it. Do you remember me saying in the run-up to the election, I said it's going to be announced that Joe Biden has won. I said it will be announced that Joe Biden has won, whether he has won or not. That's what they're going to announce, and they did. And indeed they have, and I knew there would be some attempt to rig it like there was in 2016, but I didn't think it would be this blatant. I didn't think it would be this obvious. It's incredible. If you go along with the mainstream media and you just watch BBC and CNN, then the election's all done and dusted. It's over. It's finished. Biden has won. It's Joe Biden, your next president. Kamala Harris, your next vice president. And this has been very much a holy writ of law within the mainstream media. They're literally talking about this as if it's all done and dusted. That is a simple fact. All the major news networks have said this. In fact, I do wonder, actually, whether this enthusiasm for this particular position has a purpose. And indeed it does, because, as I've said before, no judge has ruled on this, that Joe Biden is going to be the next president, and President Trump has not conceded. In fact, it's official now. So the reason they're going overboard on this Biden one line, and every news story is about it, well, before this bloody coronavirus vaccine, which emerged just 2 days later, and I don't think that's a coincidence, but I'll say more about that in the future. But it's all showing people celebrating on the streets, interviews with people who supported Biden, how all the different people are going to say how Biden is going to make the country better, and it's the dawn of a new age of tolerance and reason and healing. And the reason they're going so overboard on this is because they want to make Trump look like a spoilsport. They want to make Trump's lawsuit look as if, basically, it's just him being a sore loser, as I've explained before. There's no reason to think that. Electoral fraud does happen, and Trump is not a sore loser. Trump is bringing up he has a case. He has, I think, an overwhelming amount of evidence that his case is valid. But they're trying to make him look like this so that when he launches his lawsuit, especially if the lawsuit is successful, which is quite likely, it is pretty likely, then he's going to look like, oh my God, you all thought Biden. Then the media can say, we thought Biden won, but then this horrible man came along and put a big spanner in the works, and now he's going to be president for the next 4 years. Well, not for the next 4 years, until he can arrange an emergency election, but I'll come to that later. He's going to be president now, and he wants to have another election, and he's going to keep having more elections until he gets the result he wants, because he just doesn't want to leave office. And then everyone's going to go, oh my God, we were celebrating in the streets. And Kamala Harris was phoned the very moment she was filmed the very moment she phoned up Joe Biden and said, Joe, we've done it. You're going to be president, I'm going to be vice president. That's why they're doing it, so that then, of course, everyone will go apeshit, won't they? there'll be massive civil disorder in that situation, because that's what the media have G'd everyone up. They've pulled out the stops on generating positive emotions from people and hope and all these sorts of things from the news that Biden won, just so they can pull the rug out from under them when Trump initiates his lawsuit, especially, as I said, in the very likely event that it'll be successful. Because then you could say, you can say all you like, and this is what obviously content creators and commentators like myself are going to be in this position. You can say, well, look, no, it's not that. He's not a spoilsport. This is not a coup d'etat. This is irrational. This is a case that a court has ruled on, and it's ruled on the case because it's true. There was electoral fraud, and Joe Biden should never have been announced as president. That will fall on, unfortunately, for some people, it will fall on deaf ears. They won't even hear that. They'll just hear evil Orange Hitler has basically snatched victory from the jaws of defeat and thrown Biden over the board just after he'd been properly initiated as the president-elect. That's how they're going to see it. There's going to be riots on a huge scale, probably bigger than what happened over the summer. And in fact, the way they're portraying it now, the way they're portraying Trump, actually, is it's as if he's disappeared. It's as if he's vanished. All the news stories about Biden plans to do this, all the news stories are talking about Biden as if he's already the bloody president. Even if Trump had conceded, and Trump has not conceded, and he's not about to, but even had he done that, then he would still be president. He would still be president now. In fact, he will be president until the 20th of January. When there's inauguration, when the new president is inaugurated. Joe Biden is president-elect, which means you're going to be president when the inauguration day comes around. And that's more than 2.5 months away. Yet they're talking about Trump as if he's already gone. Look at this. If you go to the US and Canada in BBC News, it's all Biden this. Biden says to Americans, I implore you to wear a mask. Biden is planning this. Biden is planning that. What happens now? And it's a picture of Joe Biden. What Biden's victory means. And this is the only article. The only time Trump is mentioned is this. Look, being with Trump the day he lost an election, you see a very miserable-looking president with a sour face, and he's playing golf. They just film him playing golf. It's like he's gone away. It's like he's just vanished. It's like there is no president now. President Trump he's already gone away. He's off. They filmed him playing golf, and they said, "Well, look, this is where he is." He's disappeared. There is no president of the United States at the moment. There's just nobody. And Biden is going to be the president-elect until he's inaugurated. Then he'll be the president. And in government, this is the same thing has happened. For instance, Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, she's one of the most senior figures in the U.S. government. She called a press conference yesterday, and I think it was one of the most unprofessional things I've ever seen from her. It's almost as bad as the previous press conference she gave, where she announced that she would be inaugurating Joe Biden as President of the United States, regardless of the election's outcome. And this was before the election. That alone should have invalidated that election. The fact that someone in her position would say that, we don't care what the election's going to say, Joe Biden is going to be the next president. Now, that is very sinister, isn't it? Anyway, in this one, she brought up, as soon as she started speaking, she started addressing Biden in the third party as the president-elect. She started calling him that. She says, I say, Trump has not conceded, a judge has not ruled. Until that happens, he's not the president-elect. He appears to have won an election, and as I said, Trump isn't currently suing his own government because that election was carried out wrongfully. Not only did she start addressing Biden in this talk as the president-elect, she stopped calling Donald Trump the president. She stopped referring to him as the president, and she simply called him Trump. Trump this, Trump that. She referred to him as Trump. So she's not even calling him the president anymore. At the same time, of course, as I referred to in the last live stream, there's been an explosion of censorship on the mainstream social media. I've been affected by this myself because I've been retweeting all of Trump's tweets about censorship, and every one of them is covered with this fuzzy block which says, "This may contain misleading information. You need to press here in order to view it. And if you view it, it doesn't have a like, it doesn't have a reply. You can't like it, you can't reply to it. You can press, if you press retweet, another sign says coming up, you can't retweet this unless you put a quote in, because the information is misleading. So, again. And it's not just Twitter. I mean, Facebook banned a web page, one of its pages called Stop the Steal, which is a slogan which Trump probably planned months ago. As I said, Trump knew this was coming. He's been preparing us for it. He's been warning us. And he's been planning for this. This is why he got his lawyers like Giuliani and the rest of his team on the case straight away, because he basically said, look, this is what you're going to have to do. But this Facebook group, Stop the Steal, was banned by Facebook. Now, this is allegedly because it included calls for violence. I'm not willing to take Facebook's word for that, because I have not seen anyone in the Stop the Steal sort of movement advocating anyone breaks the law. I've seen lots of peaceful protests, and they have been peaceful. They've not been covered by the mainstream media, but Alex Jones has been there. Lots of other people have been there. If there had been anything other than peaceful protests, it would have been all over the mainstream media, wouldn't it? It'd been, look at this, evil Nazi racists are rioting. And they haven't. So these have been peaceful protests. Now, did you see the news story? Nobody's turned up for work at the White House today. Oh dear. Again, it's like, they're filming around the White House and they see a couple of people wandering around. Nobody's turned up for work. Oh my goodness me. Well, it could be there's normally a period of leave after the election for people. But they're implying basically that everything's just shut down. The entire executive is shut down because President Trump has gone. He's not the president anymore already. The day after the election, not only has Joe Biden not been officially pronounced the president-elect, but the president himself has just vanished. He's gone off somewhere. He's hiding in a cabin in the woods. There is no president. Yeah, so, I think when I look back at it, this election, the only thing that surprised me, as I think I said this already, is the level of the electoral fraud was so obvious, it was so transparent. And in 2016, as I explained before, there was an attempted at electoral interference which didn't work, and really it's something that should have been tackled at the time. But if you look behind the mainstream media, you'll see that President Trump is fighting back. He called. I did wonder. I was thinking, what's happening? He did a speech where he said he was contesting the election, nothing official. But then he called a press conference in Pennsylvania. Yes, it was in the car park of a garden centre, and everyone's making a big deal about that. But his lawyer, Rudolph Giuliani, addressed the world's media. Now, unlike Pelosi's words and Biden's words, this was not shown live on any mainstream media channel other than The Independent. Although, of course, carefully crafted sound bites were circulated later, usually about 2 minutes to 3 minutes long. But the president's legal team have formally announced their challenge to this election. And they did a 1 hour speech where Giuliani focused on Pennsylvania, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's no time to talk about the entire case because they have a very persuasive case and it's multi-pronged. Currently 11 states are under investigation, including all the battleground states. So it is official. Trump is fighting back. Now, I think he's going to refuse to step down from the White House, and I think he'll be within the law to do that. I would go as far as to say he has a duty not to step down, because he has to defend the country from this sort of thing. He has to defend the country from this corrupt elite that is doing this sort of thing. A fraudulent election cannot lead to a president. A fraudulent election is null and void. Trump remains the president until a proper election can be carried out. And there's the 12th and 14th Amendment to the US Constitution allow this, so I've been told. It's amazing. I'm focusing on all this. Other truthers are ignoring this. It's like others because they think Trump's just another insider. This has never happened, as far as I know, that electoral fraudsters have been caught so red-handed in such a principled nation as the USA. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, this came out on on the Mindset podcast yesterday. If you want to listen to that, mindsetcentral.com, where I talk about it with Gareth Davis and the other panelists. Really, the effects of this cannot be predicted. I don't think we know what's going to happen now, because Gareth was saying, this is going to drag us backwards to the pre-2016 era, when, this is just a little... We've had like 4 years of freedom, and now the deep state have got back into control. We don't know that. We don't know what the Illuminati have achieved from this, or whether this will go in their favour or against it. I suspect it will go against them, because every cause has an effect, and this is a pretty big cause. Now, there's another news story about Kanye West, who, of course, nominally challenged Trump to the presidency. He did this big announcement saying, I'm against Trump now, and I'm going to run up as I'm going to run as a rival to him. I used to be on his side, but now I'm against him. It was just a trick. It was a trick because he knew that a lot of Biden supporters would have voted for him, because he was popular with the Biden camp, and that would have cut the Biden vote in certain key locations. It was just a trick. It didn't work. Of course, I don't know what effect it would have, because he only got 60,000 votes. Now, I was asking, I asked in the other day, because there was this guy, this guy was speaking on what was his name? He was tweeting out, and actually, ironically, I found out about this from bloody Kevin Logan, of all people. Terence K. Williams. He was like a comedian, and he did this thing saying, "Where's the GOP? What's happening with the rest of the party?" And that honestly is a good question, because as I've said, Trump is technically a Republican candidate, although in practice, de facto, he's an independent. As I said, within the GOP, the rank and file members, he's no Republican presidents have ever had so much approval from their have never had so much approval from their president of their president. But what about these congressmen and senators who were just, some of them, newly elected to in the GOP, and what about them? And are they standing up for Trump? This is a good question. And luckily, there was someone called Ronna McNeil, and she is the chairwoman of the Republican National Convention, and she has put out a message saying that the party is going to back the president. So the Republican Party is going to back their president, even though, like I said, most of the GOP senior level seems to be filled with never-Trumpers and neocons and people like that. People like William Kristol, people like David Froome, people who wouldn't touch Trump with a barge pole, and they'd rather vote for Genghis Khan than President Trump. Another thing that Vorsh said, Trump's not against electronic voting because he patented an electronic voting machine. Yes, he did. It was a blockchain system, one which would have been secure and couldn't have been meddled with. So Vorsh is wrong about that. Now, over on this side of the Atlantic, Keir Starmer, the leader of the opposition, the left-wing Tony Blair, he couldn't wait to congratulate Biden, said, "Congratulations, President-elect." Where's his bloody tweet? I had a bit of a go at him, actually. Where's his tweet? Hang on a sec. Here we go. If I can find it here. But I did tweet at him because he said, it's not here. Just one moment. I don't follow him. Starmer. There we are. Sir Keir Starmer, leader of the Labour Party, Member of Parliament for Holborn and St Pancras, former Director of Public Prosecutions. Oh my God, he's got a big... His initial tweet, it's all about the vaccinations, how wonderful they are. I'll be saying more about that later. But he did put up a thing saying here... where is it now? I replied to this. Congratulations to Joe Biden on his election as President of the United States of America. He ran a campaign on values that we here in the United Kingdom share. Speak for yourself, mate. Decency, integrity, compassion, and strength. Well, it's decency, integrity, compassion, and strength is what President Trump institutes, as far as I'm concerned. So that was no surprise that... there's absolutely no surprise at all that Starmer did that. I'm not at all Surprised. And then guess what? Where is it? Boris Johnson. Oh dear. What did Boris say about this? Congratulations to Joe Biden on his election as President of the United States and to Kamala Harris on her historic achievement. The US is our most important ally, and I look forward to working closely together with our shared priorities, from climate change to trade and security. Boris, I tweeted this. What the fuck? What's wrong with you, Boris? What's wrong with you? Why have you changed so much? You know you can't say things like that just because the media have announced it. You shouldn't say things like this. As I said in my video I made about Boris, they've got his family in custody. I think they must do. He's just completely changed. This is not the same man last year who was saying, get Brexit done or I'll lie dead in a ditch and things like that. You know, oh my God. Boris, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? So no, this is not going to be a coup d'etat. Honestly, Trump is doing everything above the law, and I can prove it. What happened was I tried to donate to the defence fund because I've been getting emails from him and his family and everyone else asking for defence. In fact, Ronna McNeil of the RNC, she included a link to the defence fund campaign. So I tried to make a donation. They insisted that I put in a US home address, and I can't because I'm not American. I don't live in the United States. Trump is desperate to stay within the law so much that he would not even let a supporter in another country flip him a fiver. Some Brit who's on his side just give him £5. You know why? Because there's laws against foreign interference into American domestic politics. Even me giving him a few quid would have broke those laws. Interesting when it comes to cost and money. This is a record-breaking election when it comes to the cost of the campaigns. Now you think, looking at it, that Trump's campaign would cost much more because obviously he spent much more money on campaigning and did a lot more of it. But apparently Biden's campaign cost twice as much. I find that hard to believe. I really do. An example of people saying, I've heard people say, well, America, what happens in America doesn't matter, it's not our country. But you know the phrase, when America gets a cold, the world sneezes, or is it the other way around? America sneezes, the world gets a cold. I mean, I know very well America is not the global superpower it once was, but it is still a very central peak within the landscape of geopolitics. In this multipolar world, it is a significant pole, along with all the others such as Russia, China, etc. Which means that even now, in the post-Cold War and post-unipolar American world, United States is still extraordinarily influential. It does have a knock-on effect what happens there in other countries, including Great Britain. And this will affect Brexit. Now, an example of how this will affect Brexit, Trump is very pro-Brexit. He joined with Boris, and he said, he's a good friend of Nigel Farage, of course, who, of course, leads the Brexit Party, and he said, we can set up bilateral trade deals with an independent Britain. Not the Transatlantic Trade Investment Partnership, TTIP, either. That was scrapped. Now, if Trump's not president, and Biden was the president, which hopefully won't happen. I don't think it's going to happen. That would all go out the window. Biden would either resurrect TTIP, probably give it another name, dust it off and call it the Friendship Across the Atlantic deal or something. They always have these very, very insipid kind of sentimental names. Whenever something has that, you've got to be wary of it. It's like the Dreamers. Do you remember that? You know, things like that. The Patriot Act. It's all Orwellian. What would happen? What Biden would plan to do? He would bypass Britain as an independent state and go straight to the EU, and basically try to dry Britain out financially, as in favour of the European Union. This, of course, would lead to a strengthening of what I predict will happen, which is the rejoin alliance. Sometime before the next general election, there's going to be a rejoin alliance, which will just say, look, let's get Britain back into the EU. Brexit doesn't work. The reason it won't work is because because there's not a president of the United States on the side of Brexit. Of course, that's just an excuse, but that's what they would do. Now, I've just actually been speaking to Steve Bassett. I recorded a video with him, which is going to be up soon. It's also going to be on Hapanwo Radio, but I'm going to put it on Hapanwo TV too, where we discuss the state of the world in terms of UFO, or ET, as he calls it, disclosure. And now, Steve has a very low opinion of President Trump, much lower than my own, and he didn't see it this way. But I do think it's possible. But I did ask him this, and I personally think it is possible that amidst all this chaos, it could be the perfect disclosure moment. We could actually see maybe Trump pull an ace out of his sleeve, which would be, UFOs are real. I wasn't going to tell you about it, but now I am. It'll be on Twitter first, of course, knowing him. But then, of course, what will Twitter do? Will they cover that up? Probably. But it won't do any good, because Trump is still the president. Trump is president. You know, in the worst case scenario, he's still president until the 20th of January, even if he conceded now, which he hasn't done. So things are not as bad as they look. Now, a lot of my viewers, a lot of you, are expressing very downhearted sentiments. I've seen lots of people in a very, very bad way, emotionally, who supported Trump and think this is doomsday. It's not. Do not despair, as Charlie Chaplin once said. Do not despair, and you shouldn't. You should not despair. This is not something that's come out of the blue. I mean, this is why I say to the people who support Biden and are trying to discredit the president, this story of electoral fraud is not something the president made up, the night of the election when he realised he was losing. It's something he knew was going to happen. He's been warning us. He's been planning for it. It's not something he just made up. It's not a story. It's real. And what's more, he's been preparing for this situation. You can bet that the fraudsters have been, but so has he. He's been preparing for this situation for many weeks, probably for months. This is why he predicted it. This is why he warned us about it. He knows how to handle it. So please don't give up. Now, let's have a look at your comments. I've got a tag which just says this. It just says, thank you for your comment. It will be answered during the upcoming video, US election 1 week on. So I'll go first I'll start off with US election number 1 live stream. I'm only doing these 4 videos. Of course, I will be doing a normal comments reply video as well. Okay. I'll be doing that as normal, probably later in the month. So that is going to happen. So let's have a look. Newest comments first. And we got... what's happened here? Two replies. Hudek1 says, Biden ripped a political speech by your Neil Kinnock. Yes, well, not my Neil Kinnock. He's the bloody... Neil Kinnock is the bloody EU commissioner. Or he was the EU commissioner. But yeah, he did. I mean, it's very interesting. It was actually... This just came up on the Mindset podcast last week. And here's a link. What's this? Oh, it's hang on, bloody ads. This is Johnny Carlson, Joe Biden joke. Is this funny?
On the political scene, one of the Democratic candidates is Senator Joseph Biden. Have you seen the problem he's been having?
Oh, this is from 1987.
Made a speech.
This is Johnny Carson. He's dead now. He's James Randi's mate. The guy I talked about doing Uri Geller. What's this then?
And apparently, he quoted I think it was a British politician.
Neil Kinnock.
Took his speech and kind of paraphrased it as his own. And then the press got on him, and then he was charged also with taking part of Bobby Kennedy's speeches. And Biden says, not to worry, he reassured his staff. He said, we have nothing to fear, but fear itself.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, of course, that's not exactly original either. But anyway, thanks for that, Hudak. Much appreciated. So now we move on to US Election 2 live stream. What have we here? Oh, there's a few more on this one. Sort by newest first. So there's a number in here. So Barbara Whittle. Hi, Barbara. How are you? Great to see you too. Sorry you couldn't join live. Or maybe you were there, I can't remember. Rex Makepeace says here, I think it's amazing how people think conventional politics is here to help us. It doesn't matter who's in office, things will remain the same. Unfortunately, there are a lot of naive people out there. Trump or Biden serve corporate interests. Not true, Rex, and Trump is an exception there. Yeah, before 2016, I would have agreed with you. You see, I would say exactly before 2016, you were exactly right. It didn't matter who was in office. Things did remain the same. It was naive to think that anyone other than that could actually do anything about it. So, yeah. But in the post-2016 world, everything's changed. Trump is different. I explain why on my channel, in my videos. Red Cap Goblin, that's a good name. Red Cap Goblin says, electoral fraud is being committed. We have to fight back. Media lies, America dies. Yep. That's precisely what's happening. And DJ B2 says here on this particular video here, we're still on US election 2 live stream. Sorry to miss the second one. I was participating on an American friend's live stream using my voice, lol. It went very well and was only my third one. Oh, well done. I'm glad you're getting into the live stream business too, DJ. That's pretty good. TK says, in summary, this is full of nebulous statements based on assumptions. No, it's not. It's based on my observations of what's actually going on. Also, try not to use the word they, as they, quote-unquote, seem to be involved in everything, but yet you never clarify who they actually are. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. They're the Illuminati. They're basically a network of authoritarian people. I mean, I don't know their names. I know there's people in the public eye who are very senior. I don't know exactly who runs the shop, but who are driving this agenda, which you see all over the world. You see this pattern repeated everywhere. More internationalism, more authoritarianism, more secrecy. TK continues. As I said in a previous comment, it seems to me that you refer to the Democratic Party in the USA as they. Maybe I do. I mean, maybe I should clarify that. The Democratic Party is simply the vehicle by which the Illuminati are using at the moment. So we get statements such as, quote, they planned this, unquote. I personally think someone could write a PhD on who is, quote unquote, they, another PhD on what is planned, and yet another PhD on what is this. They planned this is a statement that a 5-year-old makes. Okay, well, maybe I should clarify that, TK, but it was a live stream. I was on the hoof, and it's possible that that sentence, which you break down, might require enormous amounts of explanation. But it's possible I've explained these in more detail in previous videos, which you've seen. I know you watch my channel regularly. Now we move on to US election live stream 3. What is this? Tanner, oh, you're... Okay, it's just... Right, so we've got quite a few. Got 32 comments on this. That's good. Newest first. And here we go. Crafty Nihilist says, Ben, I just got up. You coming back? Oh, bless you. And Crafty Nihilist says, Ben, 1818, Jack Daniels comes to say hello. All right. Oh, I held up the bottle, didn't I? You know, Wisconsin? Because I was slurring terribly, wasn't I? I was so terribly slurring. Oh, I was sleep deprived, and I had half a bottle of Jack Daniels and some wine. I was pissed. Yeah, Crafty Nihilist says, Ben, I can't stop rewatching this over and over. I make a video, put it to music. Oh, thank you. That'd be great, Crafty Nihilist. Let me know when you got it, because I'm sure it will become some kind of comedy piece. Definitely. Izzy Smart, good morning. Nice to hear from you again, Izzy. How are you? I do watch your channel sometimes. I mean, we used to exchange a lot more views, but yeah, it's glad you're still in the business. Hudek1 says, geez, you put a dent in that jack. I did. Not so much a dent as I caved it in. Yeah, I was sort of sitting there I was watching Sargon, and Sargon stopped. And then I thought, what am I going to watch now? I went over to Alex Jones. He was doing his big live commentary. Then several other people were as well. So I sort of moved from one live stream to the next. I even watched the Young Turks for a while. And Cenk Uygur was he was having the same meltdown he did in 2016. Except that Of course, strangely enough, at 4 a.m., between 4 and 5 a.m., it all transformed. By the way, I made a mistake in that last video I made. This is the last video I made, because I said I missed it because I was drunk and tired, but I was forgetting the time zone. This all happened at 4 to 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was, of course, that's sort of 9 in the morning my time. And Hudek says Oregon is basically red outside Willamette Valley. That's Portland and Eugene, but there is too few of us. Yeah, these are the big cities in Oregon. I was looking on the map, and you see this repeated in many different places. Apparently, Illinois would be blood red if it wasn't for Chicago. These are the centres of population, and they tend to be very liberal, very, very Democrat voting. Apparently. Algorithm says in reply to Hudek, Colorado is in the same situation. Other than the Denver metro area, we have our heads on right. Oh, right. It seems like there's many cultural differences within the United States. It's a huge country with an enormous population, and where you go will depend on wherever you go. You'll meet very, very different people. You'll meet people who are culturally, racially, and socially very, very different. Sometimes they'll speak different languages, and they'll have different ideas, which means, yeah, this does seem to happen. And there's obviously class differences and these cultural differences, like I said, but there's also differences between urban and rural areas, and you see that actually in Britain too. I mean, it happens in Britain as well. So we go up. Israel Diego Rivera says, make reptiles great again. Oh, I've got to get a green hat with those words on, haven't I? FMG Football Mad Gamer says, fraudulent election. Yeah, quite so. And Dave Smith says, yeah, and yet he's still losing. Amazing. Well, of course, the fraud was meant to make Trump lose. That's the whole point of it. The point was to get Trump to lose. Rex Makepeace says, all these politicians are frauds, lol. They prey on gullible people to gain votes. Not all of them. There are exceptions, and you have a current exception in the White House. FMG Football Mad Gamer says in reply to Rex, sadly, if I were an American citizen, I would vote Green. No blame on me then if things fall apart. All right, don't blame me. I voted Green. David Smith says, can't wait to see all the evidence of these claims, Ben. When that happens, I'll be firmly supporting you. Well, thanks, David. You know, you've already seen some of them since I made this video. Giuliani's presented a précis of the whole thing at the Garden Centre press conference, and much more is going to be said on top of that. It's official, it's not just rumour. Trump is fighting it. Booth Illicit says, had me in stitches on several occasions. Nothing like a very late night and some whiskey. Absolutely. Well, it's not so much a late night as an early morning. Luckily, I said all my work was cancelled for that morning, so I didn't have to work till 12. I did have a bloody hangover by midday when I got up to go to work. BZ Garson says, who actually admits to watching Infowars in order to get a factual political information? Ben, your conspiratorial political analysis is utter crap. Yeah, but you keep watching it, BZ, don't you? It's not crap at all. I mean, if you think I'm wrong about something, do tell me. We'll discuss it. You know, I don't believe everything I see on Infowars. I mean, they get some things wrong. I mean, like Owen Shroyer. I think he's Alex Jones's son. I can't remember, but he was like presenting a show, and he said, "Look, we have evidence. We have evidence of they were delivering the ballots by plane, and there was film. People were taking amateur footage of large transport aircraft landing in various airfields around the country. Now, I never saw any evidence that there was any fake ballots on board those planes. There's no video of people getting out the planes carrying these boxes and putting them in vans and delivering to the polling stations or anything. There was no evidence of that. There was evidence of vans arriving at various polling stations. One person filmed it in Milwaukee, and yeah, so definitely in Detroit as well. Which means that was evidence. Now, the thing is, there'll be no reason to fly these ballots in, I don't think, because if you want to fake an election, you don't have to print ballots and fly them halfway across the country. These things could be produced locally by accomplices in the local area. And so BZ Garson also says here, Ben, do you actually know why swing states are called swing states, PMSL? Well, I think it's to do with them being that they actually can move from one designation to another. Let's have a look at the. Shall we look at the definition? Shall we? A swing state. Here we are. In American politics, the term swing state, or battleground state, or purple state refers to any state that could reasonably be won by either the Democratic or Republican presidential candidate. Yeah. So yes, I do understand that. I do understand that perfectly well, thank you. BZ Garson, there's nothing worse than a boring drunk. Bye! BZ, there's no such thing as a boring drunk. Drunks are always either amusing, or they're annoying, or they are frightening, but they're never boring. Rex Makepeace says here, I really don't understand why you worship Trump. I don't worship him. I respect him. I admire him. Mainstream politics is a joke. Politicians like Trump are in it for their own personal and political gain. The guy's a meme who serves corporate interests and nothing more. There are so many naive followers who think he cares about the man in the street. If change will occur, it won't come from a wealthy billionaire. Look at his circle of friends. I rest my case. Well, as I said, you're wrong. Pre-2016, I would have agreed with you, but the world's changed. Pre-2016, someone like Trump would never get anywhere near the White House. He doesn't serve corporate interests and nothing more. He does care about the people in the street. He withdrew funding for al-Nusra in Syria when he witnessed a beheading video. If change occurs, I don't see him being a wealthy billionaire has anything to do with it. I think that's some inverted snobbery on your side. As for circle of friends, I take it you're referring to the photograph of him with Epstein and Maxwell. That was taken at the Mar-a-Lago Center, or resort, which he owns. But what you don't know is that this was just soon after that, Trump expelled Epstein and told him never to come back because of his behaviour. Steve mumbling. Bless him. Here we go. I can't watch any of this political claptrap. Did you answer those questions? Do you really think someone who's doing his best to prevent people voting should be in the White House? If Trump said Roswell was a mogul or similar balloon string, would you accept that? Don't just say he wouldn't say that. Answer the question. Roswell was a mogul balloon string, so that's all he could ever say about it. Can't you just type the answers here? No, I'm not going to type the answers here, Steve. You can watch this video. I'm not going to put a timestamp in it because it's going to be a pretty short video. Do you really think the reason to prevent people, he wasn't preventing people voting. Stop the count has been misinterpreted and twisted as usual. And what he meant was he could see what was happening. He could see something was going wrong with the election, and there was shenanigans, as Styx Hexenhammer calls it. Funny business, as Carl Sagan of Akkad says. So he wanted to put a halt to the count to investigate. That's what it meant. He didn't want people to stop counting so that, or prevent people voting. He didn't want to prevent people voting. He insisted that people voting. There was a record turnout. All right, I'll answer the question about Roswell. If he said Roswell was a mogul balloon string, I wouldn't accept it because I know that's not true. I would say he's making it up. I mean, he's lied about UFOs before. He's lied about it before. I'm not typing the answer here. You watch the bloody video. Steve Mumbling says as well, it's long overdue. Watch him. Watch him. He's not one of us. What's this? Okay, here's a link here to something. Oh, this channel doesn't have any content. Or I see the person. I know the person you're talking about because this guy's commented a couple of times, Steve, but he doesn't have any content on his channel, so I can't watch him. Trump is trying every dirty trick in the book to hold on to the presidency. How undignified, PMSL. He is not trying to. He's not playing dirty tricks. He's uncovering dirty tricks. That's the point. Honestly, if he called one of the first things he's going to do if he wins his lawsuit and remains president after January the 20th, one of the first things he will do, actually before then, because obviously inauguration doesn't really matter, because he's the president, one of the first things he will do if he wins this lawsuit is he will call an immediate emergency election. And one which will be carried out properly. Probably before the end of the year, maybe early January, you'll see an emergency election. It'll be conducted properly, with no chance of fraud. Now, if Trump loses that, you will not hear a word out of me. I promise. And what's more, I think he will step down graciously. If he honestly loses a fairly contested and properly carried out election, he will step down. Of course, he won't be going up against Joe Biden, because Joe Biden will be in jail by then, but whoever he's up against. He's an embarrassment. He's not embarrassment. Perhaps he should just let democracy take its course, as the government in Australia has been suggesting. He can't just let democracy take its course. He has to put it on course. That's what he's trying to do. I'm sure other governments around the world will start asking for the same thing. If there was anything to disclose that would secure the votes of the tinfoil hat brigade, he would have disclosed it by now. Well, maybe he will, Steve. Like I said earlier on, this could be an ace he will pull out of his sleeve as a last resort. Steve Bassett thinks not, but maybe he would. It seems the world of conspiracy is crumbling. Johnston is regurgitating drivel from years ago. Miles does produce a lot of original content. I mean, he's had me on there, so obviously. But I don't watch every one of his videos because his output is enormous. Richard D. Hall has given up. I don't think he has, you know. Richard does get involved. He has hiatuses. I said this in the live stream. He has gaps between his productions. He's probably working on a new series. He may even be filming or researching. He'll come up with a new series pretty soon. Probably a live tour as well. It'll probably be a virtual one again, but he will. So has Joe from the Carolinas. I don't know much about Joe from the Carolinas, actually. Is he Joe from the Carolinas? I think I've heard it somewhere. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, I did.
Hang on. Joe from the Carolinas. Here we go. Joe from the Carolinas. Do I know him? I've heard of him. Oh, Beyond Theory. Yeah, I subbed to him. I haven't watched. He's been uploading. He hasn't uploaded for a year. No, I've watched him. I subbed to him, but I don't know much about that though, Steve. Anyway, the same old UFO science fiction stories from decades ago keep doing the rounds. They're not science fiction story, and they're not. The reason they sound similar is because they're coming out. They're coming out now. Because, for example, what the TTSA talking about is the same thing that Milton Torres experienced in 1957. The same thing that the RAF pilots experienced in 1942. It sounds the same, but it's just more open now. But there's nothing new. The Nimitz claptrap has been thoroughly debunked. So has TTSA, etc. No, they haven't. I've explained this to you. As for your suggestion, I certainly will. What was that? What did I suggest, Steve? Oh, I suggested you wake up and join the live stream. Yeah, I suggested you would. David Smith says in reply to Steve mumbling. Remember all the armed demonstrators when Hillary lost? Nah, neither do I. And yet the conspiraloons, how original, insist that the evil left are part of some NWO. I'm not suggesting that every left-wing person is part of the NWO. Most of them are just decent people. I used to be one of them when I was like a teenager. Come on. I'm not saying that part of the NWO. I'm saying that the centre-left political movements tend to be exploited by the New World Order at the moment. Absolutely amazing. It looks like some politicians will try exploiting the gullible among us for some time to come. I'm sure they don't care if violence and harm occurs. This is ridiculous. I mean, I bet you if someone goes crazy with a gun right now over this particular issue to do with the voter fraud, the blame will be pointed at people like Trump and people like me because we're bringing this subject up. Despite the fact what Trump is doing is legal, I'm advocating for people never to break the law. And you know what? You know, if someone went into an oil company office and just went crazy with a gun and killed lots of people, and they said, well, I watched Greta Thunberg's speech, how many people would point fingers at Greta? How many people would point fingers at Extinction Rebellion? It's so unfair. It's so one-sided. David continues, and when it does, Ben and people like him will blame the fictional New World Order for it all. You really can't win with people who are so irrational. Well, firstly, I don't blame the New World Order, which is not fictional. I don't blame it for everything that happens. I don't claim that everything is a conspiracy. So, no, that's not whenever it happens. David says, I personally don't believe in any evil group or New World Order, apart from our messed up economic models exploiting the planet and people. Well, we differ there, don't we, David? But if I had to point to a group that's causing harm, it would be the conspiracy crowd. Oh, why is that? Here we go. All the no vaccines, 9/11 misinformation, science denial, spreading of fear and false claims, polluting the vulnerable minds, often xenophobic, and creating a less cohesive society. Overall, that to me is as close to an evil group that they're so quick to claim exists. Really, really. So we're alerting people to the problems of mass medication, probably with poisons, through the vaccination program. The fact that 9/11, the fact that 3,000 people were murdered in New York in September 11, 2001. We're pointing at that. And we're concerned about the fact this murder took place and the perpetrators are still walking the street. Science denial. What, by saying, what be more specific? In what way do we deny science? The spreading of fear and false claims. Well, firstly, we don't spread fear. We spread hope. We're looking for a way out of it. That's what the conspiracy crowd is doing. As for false claims, explain to me which ones are false. I believe that some claims of the conspiracy crowd are false. I don't think the Earth is flat. I don't think Lewis Hamilton is Barack Obama's son. I don't think the moon is a spaceship. But be specific about which claims you mean. Polluting vulnerable minds. That's rhetoric. Xenophobic? What, a hatred of strangers or fear of strangers? That's not us at all. Creating a less cohesive society? No. We are exposing the people who want a less cohesive society by spreading hatred and fear, which I've explained before. David Smith, Steve Mumbling says in reply to David Smith, if Trump announced Roswell, blah, 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 mogul balloon, the conspiracy clowns would lose interest in him. No, I wouldn't. I would want to know why he was lying, but he was told lies before about UFOs. It's as simple as that. No, it's not. Every previous presidential candidate that said they would disclose any ET information is going in the past have always been supported by the conspiracy clowns regardless of their political belief. No, I did not support Hillary Clinton, even though her campaign manager, John Podesta, believed that there should be full disclosure. I still thought that Hillary Clinton was not the proper candidate. Right or left was irrelevant to them. Right or left is, in a sense, in some ways, is an illusion in the world of politics. It's simply labels we put on certain beliefs, but both can be used in some forms by the Illuminati. And of course they never have. Well, they haven't yet. For whatever reason, they're gullible enough to believe Trump will disclose. Well, firstly, it's not all of us. Firstly, Steve Bassett, who I've just been talking to, who you'll be seeing on this channel soon, he doesn't believe that, as you'll find out. In fact, he's totally against the idea that Trump could possibly be the disclosure president. So much so that during the last 4 years, he's pretty much lost interest. He lost interest in the United States for a while. Disclose we're being visited by ETs. Well, who knows? He won't, of course, because there's no evidence to support that's actually happening. Yes, there is evidence to support it's happening. If he won't, then there's another reason for that. As I'm interested in the subject, I too would like to know if we're being visited by ETs. Well, yeah, Steve. Well, that's why you watch my channel, because I'm trying to explain to you why that's the case. We debate this continuously, don't we? That doesn't mean I want us to be visited by ETs. Ben and Linda Moulton Howe etc., etc., desperately want ETs to be visiting us. Yes, I think I would. I'm not saying there's no wishful thinking or anything like that on my part. I would like there to be ETs, to be honest. But whether there are or not is irrelevant to my feelings. You see, there's lots of things I would like to be which are not, and I accept that. I would like there not to be all kinds of things that actually happen. I would like there not to be the coronavirus pandemic. It does happen. So I don't always go along with my wishful thinking. I would much rather coronavirus pandemic just to be what it is and not what it's obviously disguised as. But it's not. Well, the question is, why? Well, you're going to play amateur psychologist now again, Steve, aren't you? If we're being visited by ETs, why are they here? Good question. Scientific study, tourism, or military reconnaissance? If it's the latter, we're screwed. Well, Steve, from what I've seen of witness testimony, the ETs seem to have a wide variety of different missions. They express lots of different kinds of behaviour. So it could be more than one thing. There's many different species. There's virtually a taxonomy of the aliens now. They're seen all over the world. They probably come from many, many different locations. So it could be all three of those things and more. I don't think we're screwed if it's military reconnaissance. Anyway, for reasons I'll describe later. David Smith says to Steve Mumbling, I'm not sure I think Ben would claim Trump was being forced to say it by the New World Order. You can explain anything like that. I'm not sure. He said, I'm not sure I think Ben would claim Trump is being forced not to say it by the New World Order, or being forced to say it. No, I wouldn't think that, because the New World Order don't want disclosure, unless it's some kind of fake disclosure, like we've talked about before. I desperately want ETs to be visiting Earth, but I don't see any evidence for it. Don't worry if they're hostile. Trump's real Space Force will sort them out. Sarcasm emoji, yeah. The Space Force I've talked about before, and no, it won't sort them out. But I think there are ETs visiting the Earth. That's not because I want there to be. It's because I have made an effort to look at both sides of this subject. I mean, I do look at what the skeptics say about this as well. I test my theories against opposition. This is why I engage with Steve so much. Sweeps. Hey, Sweeps. It's Sweeps Foxman says here. US election pre-planned steal by globalists. Please know we're fighting this complete election fraud. If you think otherwise, you're either low informed or not able to see what's happening to our freedoms worldwide. Good, Ben. Kick him up the arse. Absolutely, Sweeps. I'll kick him so hard they won't know what's coming. Steve Mumbling says here, before you start suggesting Trump supporters should take up arms to keep him here, you should consider it would only take one fanatic with a rifle that thinks he should be removed to remove him. All right, if you're trying to insinuate that what I said about military force is anything like that, then please do not, because that is false. I said that he'd be within the law to use lawful force. He's influencing the Department of Defense. It's within the Kellogg-Briand Pact. It's within the Constitution. In fact, it's mentioned in the Declaration of Independence by George Washington in 1776. That individuals, whether you're within the government or not, do have the right, indeed the duty, to use force to remove enemies, internal and internal enemies as well as external. That's what I was saying. Under no count would I ever suggest that any individual takes the law into their own hands on this matter. I know I'm going to be if that happens, God forbid, if some idiot does that, or if there's a false flag and it's done by the Biden camp to try and smear the Trump supporters, then I know fingers are going to point at Trump and fingers are going to point at me. But as I said, you're not going to do that to Greta, are you? If someone tries to kill an oil company executive. It's all propaganda, Steve. It's just a convenient way of discrediting the people individually who you disagree with. And Steve Mumbling talks about he's not one of us. Now, I've looked at I know he comments sometimes, this guy, on my channel. And he's got no content on his channel unless he's deleted it or he's privatised it since you posted that. But I mean, I know the guy you're talking about here. David Smith says, quote, hello, Kim, it's Trump. Yeah, that thing we talked about has happened, and the advice you gave me isn't working. Kim Jong. Oh, right, I see. So it was actually Kim Jong-un who gave Trump advice on how to beat electoral fraudsters. Well, considering there's not been a fair election, there's never been a proper election in Korea, in that North Korea since 1948. I find that highly unlikely, David, that Kim Jong-un has any experience in that matter. And finally, we come on to the post-US election live stream. Okay, here we go. Right, what have we got here? Always loads of comments on this one. I will put in sort by newest first. And here we go. Right, Michael Green says here, who do you think stole all of Trump's votes? Maybe the leprechaun or the 7-foot lizards, or a secret society, or just never had them in the first place? Well, firstly, no one stole Trump's votes particularly. It's just loads of people. What happened was many of Biden's votes were added, up to 800,000 across the nation. So nothing was taken away from Trump's votes. They just added more to Biden's. As for who did it, I'd say the 7-foot lizards. David Smith says, all seems equally plausible, really. How on earth could we ever rule out any of them in favour of another? I don't know. You could just look for the evidence, David. I'm truly lost, but I'm sure some kind of supernatural secret phenomenon that only myself and the people in circles I run in know about. Everyone else is just a sheep. Oh, David, tell me more. I want in. Only these circles you move in, man. If you've got the answers, just inbox me, mate. Inbox me. And here we have, watch him. He's not one of us. Oh, Roy Cohn. Right, well, now I wanted to know who Roy Cohn was. Here we go. Roy Cohn, 20th February 1927 to August 2nd, 1986, was an American lawyer best known for being Senator Joseph McCarthy's chief counsel during the Army McCarthy hearings in 1954. Oh, right. For assisting with McCarthy's investigations and suspected communists. Thank you. I didn't know that. I was thinking of the guy who sung Walking in Memphis, who was Michael Cohn, I think. Hang on, what's it like? Walking in Memphis. Here we go. Mark Cohn, Walking in Memphis. That's it. Ron Cohn. Maybe they're related. I don't know. But thanks for that. Watch him. He's not one of us. And Steve Mumling wants me to watch your channel, but you need to upload some content if you want me to do that. Okay. Tazkhan786 says, quote, because he serves a foreign occupier, your open letter to Trump. That's right. That's what I said. Don't all presidents serve the foreign interests of Israel? No. The world does not revolve around Israel like you're thinking. Anyway, you're lost if you think Trump is any different. No, he is different. He personally hires numerous Zionists, and dual Israeli Americans into various positions in his cabinet. Draining the swamp, do me a favour. Well, there's actually only one I can think of, which is John Bolton, that comes under that description, Taz. And he got rid of him pretty quick. I think he was when he hired John Bolton, it was connected to the leverage they put on him when he launched the missiles in Syria. So no, absolutely not. If he wanted to hire the people you were talking about, why didn't he give Richard Pearl a job? Why didn't he give David Frum? Why not William Crystal? Why not all the people that George W. Bush gave jobs and hired into their cabinet? Why didn't Trump hire them? Literally, the only crossover you hear is one. That's John Bolton. It's not enough to make your point. Now, he does not serve. Trump doesn't serve any foreign country, Israel or any other. He serves the United States and its people. He's the first president in years who does that. And he's a light worker. He's serving humanity. Bolton, when I say foreign occupier, I'm not actually referring to any nation. I'm referring to the Illuminati, who are foreign to the United States interests. So that's what I mean. So I hope that clarifies that. Okay, on to the next question. Inanna Whimsy. Hi, Inanna. How are you? What an exciting race. The USA is never dull, always full of spectacle. I couldn't agree more, Inanna. I mean, it's like, it's certainly not boring, is it? Blue Beam. Blue Beam's name is spelt B-L-E-W Beam, yeah. Look up CBD and insomnia, or try vitamin or melatonin. Too much politics isn't good for you, Ben. That I can tell you. You're right, actually. I'm going to knock this on the head at some point. I'm going to move on to other things. Like I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to upload this video with Steve Bassett sometime in the next couple of days, and I've got other plans for other non-election related videos because it's just too. It can obsess you and it can get you down. So yeah, it's going to be a while before we have any details because the wheels of the law turn very slowly. I think there's a deadline for the 15th of December or something when this has to be done. But CBD, Hugo Rune talks about that, and hopefully I'm going to learn some more about that soon from Hugo. Watch Him, He's Not One of Us says CBD might interfere with Mr. Ben's other meds. I don't know. All I'm taking at the moment is I'm taking a vitamin D supplement because we Brits tend to do that in winter, in autumn, winter. I'm also taking glucosamine plus, which I got from a health shop. So I don't think CBD would have any effect on those. They're not actually medications, they're more supplements. 777 says, pardon me, it's a YouTube link. What's this? It's remember. Oh, hang on. Let's get the ads out of the way.
It is the 5th of November.
Hey, it's Mark Devlin.
Date in British history.
Yep.
And I particularly wanted to put out a video titled Remember.
Okay. This is a 7-minute video, but thank you very much, 777. I really like Mark. He's a good guy. Well, he's been on my channel, hasn't he? He's been on a couple of my videos. Nuccio Ravenhill, the Sword Merchant 1976. Says here, Ben, mate, I'm truly gutted about the election result and Trump's loss. I can't help but feel angry at the American people who voted Biden in. I will never forgive them. I actually wrote under here, Ravenhill, don't give up. Biden's win is fake and Trump is fighting back. Watch the whole video. He just made the press conference and it's official. Yeah. Really, it's not a real election. It's fake. Don't give up. Don't feel gutted. Don't be angry with the American people. They didn't vote Biden in. A printing machine printing 800,000 fake ballots voted Biden in, and he's not been voted in. David Smith says in reply to me, don't believe everything you see on the news, quote unquote. I've heard you say, Ben, unless it matches what you actually believe already, eh? Hang on, what have I said, David, that I believe what I see in the news? Come on, tell me. Tell me, yeah. Be more specific. And Ravenhill says here in reply to me, thanks for the helpful links, Ben. God bless. God bless you too, Ravenhill. God bless you too. All the best. And Ravenhill says above here, I can't really get over the result. I'm devastated by Trump's loss. Holy shit. As I said to you before, Ravenhill, he's not lost. It's not over yet. He's fighting back. Please don't give up. And Ravenhill says in reply to me here, he said afterwards, thank you for your words of hope, Ben. I feel truly down and out because of the results. I'm sorry you feel that way, Raven, but please don't. Please don't. There's a lot that can be done. And there's a lot that will be done. It's not over yet. There's a lot of hope here. Equinox says, hi Equinox, how are you? Everything all right in Red Seattle? Hello, Ben. I don't know if you recall the Supreme Court hearings back in the 90s for now Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, but this is going to become important. I'm not sure if you know how truly racist Joe Biden is. His record and then endless racist comments, he's known for over the last 40 years, but he's known as being one of the good old boys to insightful people here. All right. I know he's been in politics a long time. He was first elected, I think, 1970. He ran for president in the 80s. But anyway, he says here, well, as a senator back during those hearings, Clarence's hearings were nearly over when Joe and the boys brought out Anita Hall to try and ruin him. We then went into weeks of further hearings where she graphically told us of his penis size and shape. Oh my God, right, Bill Clinton and Monica, isn't it? Oh God. And that he liked sex with animals, etc. Oh my God. Exactly the way white women would be used for scripted, trumped-out charges in the old South would lead to KKK lynchings. Yeah, that's so... Oh, God. I don't know. I've not heard about this before, Equinox, before, but I mean, I thanked you for the information on text, but oh, God. Very dark stuff, and it shocked Americans, hurting him very badly. You know, it doesn't surprise me, Equinox, because it could be one of the reasons Biden has been put in the position he is to run for president, to become the fake president-elect, is because he's basically been blackmailed. And look at the laptop. Look at Biden Hunter's laptop, eh? Anyway, it didn't work, and Thomas was confirmed for our Supreme Court and will now be one of the judges presiding over Biden's corruption. Talk about providence. Oh, my God. Do you think they might want some payback, Equinox? Not that Thomas will be corrupt himself, but he's not going to be merciful. I need to find his closing statement because the pain caused him a tearjerker. These boys and Anita's were just vile. Here's the main content. All right, here is a YouTube link from Equinox.
Nothing like what happened today has...
Oh my goodness, a 44-minute video here. Clarence Thomas Supreme Court nomination hearings from PBS NewsHour, EMK Institute. This is from the Senate confirmation hearings for the Supreme Court nominee Ellen Kagan got underway. Yeah, right. I'll have a watch of that, Equinox. Thank you very much. I actually thanked you for the... Yep, I thanked you for that in the text. Oh, and watch him, he's not one of us, said, yup. So this is going to be interesting. This could come back to bite him. You're right. I mean, it could be that they will use this, or maybe Trump will use this in some way. Who knows? But thank you for the information. That's very interesting, Equinox. And Equinox says here, Ben, I marvel how clued in a Welsh Oxford man can write about the situation in the US, and a ufologist to boot. You're a man of many fields, a Renaissance man, I believe they call it. Oh, thank you. It's so nice to know you. Oh, and I'm betting that Biden does unofficially or somehow wrangle his way in there, but will somehow fall. Everything about this feels like he is. Communism and the New World Order is going down somehow. Oh, thanks. Thank you, Equinox. You're getting a love heart for that. And you know what? I don't know. This is just too difficult to predict. It's so unprecedented and so weird that I literally cannot predict what's going to happen as a result of this. Only that something will happen. Equinox says here, I'm just checking I'm still recording, yes I am. In reply to watch him, he's not one of us. Lol, precisely what I sense is coming down. He sent a link here, so I didn't see that. Oh, this is the... Yes, this is the Lewis... Yep, this is the Lewis Prothero speech in V for Vendetta, yeah. In the beginning where this guy's on the TV having a rant. Yeah, I've seen that. Thanks very much, watch him, he's not one of us. And Equinox says in reply to that, lol, precisely what I sense is coming down, and a lot of people are mentioning this film right now. Yeah, brilliant film from 2006. V for Vendetta, the best thing since 1984, it really is. And we may worry going by history, but I think we are in a long-earned and awaited takedown of the nasty people ruling the planet. Yeah, Equinox, since 2016, I really do believe that, and I think it is true. Disclosure has to happen too in order to keep up with the way the entire universe works, and it can't happen with a New World Order blocking it. So they've got to be as determined by higher ups. They've got to go, as determined by higher ups. I think, the natural law of the universe is pushing them out. And literally within the last few years, we've seen it happen live. It's wonderful. Watch him, he's not one of us, says here. In reply to Equinox, your eloquence, knowledge and insight is refreshing. From one haunted history watcher to another, this chapel has many altars. Treat them with equal contempt. That's a link here, another link. Oh, this is Westworld. I've not seen this. Ford and Bernard in the Cradle, Part 1. Right, I've not seen this, but thanks for sharing that. So, thanks Equinox, and watch him, he's not one of us. And finally, watch him, he's not one of us, says, don't worry, Trump will save us. Oh, you're getting a love heart for that. Yeah, I think he will. I mean, he really is not going to see. He's going to fight it, which is great. And I put a blog update link there, and watch him. He's not one of us. Says, as always, Ben, you're preoccupied with the minutiae at the expense of the underlying dynamics. Never mind, eh? Enjoy yourself, I say. And here's another YouTube link. What's this here? Oh, this is Dave Angel, Eco Warrior.
Haven't done that time, but there were a few people who were looking to interview me.
Oh, it looks like Frank Butcher. All right, and thanks for that. Watch him, he's not one of us. I'll have a look at that later. Steve Palmer. Here we go. Ben, does it not bother you that Rudy Giuliani is Trump's personal attorney and they're good friends? I've never heard a woo say a good word about Trump's mate Giuliani. Really, well, I've not said anything about Giuliani. All I know about Rudy Giuliani is that he was mayor of New York City on 9/11. That's all I know about him. So anyway, I put in a blog thing here, and Steve says, how does that answer my question? Have the woo-woos forgotten they claimed Giuliani was the main player in the 9/11 attacks? Firstly, I never claimed that. I don't know about that. All I know is he was mayor of the city of New York. That's all I know. And after answering your question, I was just giving you a blog update. Hopefully now this answers your question, what I've said here. The answer is I do not know. If people claim that, I don't know. Not everyone in the 9/11 Truth Movement agrees on everything, They really don't. John Nolan says, it's all over, Ben. The snowflakes are back in power. No disclosure on UFOs and child abuse by people in high places, and lots more Twitter bans, including Trump when he leaves the White House. Well, John, I think your lament is considerably, it's probably about 4 years too soon, if that. I believe Trump is in with a very good chance of winning this case. He's going to call an emergency election. He's in with a good chance of winning that. So I think you're jumping the gun in terms of pessimism here. You really are. I think you are being too pessimistic. Or was it Oswald Spengler said, optimism is cowardice? But the thing is about Spengler, he believed that civilizational fall was inevitable. I don't believe that. And TK said, Trump's second-termed, so funny. Well, it's not funny. Look, TK, it's not funny if he proves that this election was fake, because then he's not been voted out, has he? And Biden's not the president. TK said all the mail-in ballots will be Democrat because Trump said don't do mail-in and Biden said do mail-in. But oh no, that can't be the obvious reason. So have the New World Order won. Doesn't account for the discrepancy of 800,000 within the space of a couple of hours. It doesn't account for the population of Cardiff. You see, it's not just registered voters in Cardiff. I'm talking about the entire population of the capital of Wales in 2 states, Michigan and Wisconsin. What you said about people saying do mail-ins, don't do mail-ins, doesn't count here. TK says Trump would be within the law not to step down, from Ben, the American law expert. Don't use silly rhetorics, TK. That's not me. That's not. I didn't make it off the top of my head. This is what I've looked into. This is the 12th and 14th Amendment. This is the thing. If electoral fraud has been committed, it's a kind of an act of war. The president does not step down. He has a duty not to. TK says, so I read through the blog post. Firstly, the fact you use mainstream media links and posts in your blog. Oh, I see what you mean now. Right. Well, all I was doing, they were just references to what people were saying. They weren't explanation. All right, but I'll let you carry on. Hang on. To claim the mainstream media are corrupt is inconsistent. No, it's not inconsistent. I posted them there to show that they were lies. I posted links, and I posted links to Giuliani's press conference, and I posted links to Pelosi's press conference. I'm not claiming that these are sort of sources for information that I use. I'm just putting them there to show you that they're fake. Secondly, you speak as if nobody voted Democrat and it was purely a false election outcome. No, I know some people voted Democrat. I know some people supported Joe Biden. I know American people who support him. What are you talking about? I never said that. I speak as if. What does that mean? Did I say it or didn't I? And I didn't. The fact is about 50% voted Democrat and 50% voted Republican. That's about is right. That's generally American politics down the line. There's always a slight advantage to one or the other, which is how elections are decided. While on the subject, isn't Rudy Giuliani part of the 9/11 conspiracy of yours? I've already answered that. Maybe you got it wrong again, like the son who was a Dick Emery character. Remember him? Was that the guy who says, "Hey, we're gonna go and nick an elephant"? It was a long time ago, but I did used to watch Dick Emery. Steve Palmer says to TK, have you noticed Ben often pulls his collar, body language? Oh my god, he's watching my body language now. What does it mean when I do this then? It could mean that I was wearing my polo shirt. It's a bit uncomfortable and I was adjusting it. It could mean that, couldn't it? TK said, no, I haven't noticed but what's your theory? You think Ben knows he's walks a very thin, non-existent line, and so needs to embellish and be illogically stubborn over certain things. Otherwise, the very thin to non-existent line disappears altogether, or something like that. Oh goodness, Steve Palmer says, pulling the collar can be an indication someone's being deceptive. I'm 48 minutes in, and he's done it 8 times already. Isn't it amazing? Rudy Giuliani has now become one of the good guys. How come I only do it 8 times on one video then? And how come it's only when I'm wearing that blue polo shirt? Can you explain that, Steve? TK says to Steve Palmer, fabulous stuff. Steve Palmer says, so woo-woos, how do you now stand on Rudy Giuliani, one of the good guys? I've already answered that, Steve. I don't have a preconceived opinion on Giuliani at all. Steve Mumbling says, excuse me. Well, that's that. Trump can jump up and down, screaming and crying like an angry child all he likes, but he's gone. No, he's not gone. And he doesn't jump up and down screaming and crying like an angry child. He's been very sensible, sober and rational. He's been planning this for months. His recent actions clearly show he should never have been in the White House in the first place. Rubbish! If you expect him to step down when he knows an election is fraudulent and doesn't challenge it, he should never be in the White House because he's essentially collaborating with that fraud. It's like Bernie Sanders. He should never be in the White House because what does he do? He challenges the lead candidate and he gets pulled aside by the DNC corruption and he goes and endorses it. He endorses that person, the old fool. We're seeing the actions of a spoilt child being told, no, you can't have that for the first time in his life. Oh, you've been watching Christy Winters, haven't you? The American people have told Trump, you're fired. He knew most of the postal votes would be for Biden. So he said all the postal votes were fraudulent. He said it was rigged. But he said the same thing back in 2016 and then won. How did he know that most postal votes would be for Biden? He advised people not to vote for post, but Republican voters tend to be older, so they're less likely to stand in the queue for the polling station. Christy Winters even said this. There's many reasons why Republicans and Democrats might vote equally by post. In fact, I saw some stats, I can't remember where, which said that pretty much there was not an enormous difference in turnout, not including the fake ones, between Republicans and Democrats. He soon shut up, didn't he? If he had lost, we would have seen the same farce back then. Because he lost, he will keep repeating his nonsense until he's physically dragged out of the White House. Cheer up, Ben. You'll read more. You can assign your disclosure fantasy to any future president. Look at the date in this video. Does it sound familiar? It's the same script. What's this then? What's this? It's one of my old ones, I bet. No, it's not, because hang on. Wall Street Journal. Could Trump's voter fraud claims impact the 2016 election? All right, I see. Hang on. Okay. Donald Trump is warning supporters that widespread voter fraud could cost him the election. Indeed, he was right to, though, Steve, because it happened. Project Veritas proved that there were attempts to rig the election. I talked about that, I think, at the time. Ben Emlyn, here we are. I'm just going back. His standard modus operandi is he runs the "it's all rigged" script until he wins, then it's quickly forgotten. That's precisely what he did in 2016. This time he lost. He's an embarrassment to himself and the Republican Party. He will never be supported again. Not true, and I've explained why. There's evidence. What's more, the as you can see, his party is backing him up now, at least at the official level. Steve says, what evidence do you have that clearly shows the election was faked? Just follow the news. Just follow the publications on it. Just look at Rudy Giuliani's speech. You're looking pathetic, Ben. You're clutching at straws like your hero. No, I'm not. I'm saying, as I said, if he lost a properly formatted, correctly procedured election, you wouldn't hear a word out of me. I promise you. If he drags this out and Nancy Pelosi becomes the acting president, she'll kick his ass out into the street personally. Well, that won't happen, Steve, because in order for her to become acting president, I don't think in the line of succession it's actually Mike Pence next. After that, it's the president of the Senate. She's the leader of the House. I think she's like 10th down the line. And she can't kick his ass out in the street. But personally, but by the time all that's been sorted out, it'll be Inauguration Day anyway. So that's not going to happen. And Dave Smith says to Steve, "Come on, Steve. We all know the only way the NWO won was using advanced alien technologies they've been harnessing. Or as Trump calls them, postal votes. It wasn't alien technologies at all, Dave Smith. There wasn't anything advanced about it. It was just basically a printer, and it was a van, a couple of vans, 4 vans, I think, dropped off ballots in Detroit at around 4 a.m. Someone filmed it. There's many people reporting it." Steve says, "How much is the postage from the Pleiades?" "I don't know. You'll have to ask Carol Noonan." "I should have put my comment above a bit better. Instead of his standard MO, he runs the it's all rigged script until he wins. I should have put, he runs the it's all rigged script so he can contest the result when he loses. As it turns out, he won in 2016, so he didn't have to. It's obvious he expected to lose in 2016, and he expected to lose now." No, Steve. In both occasions, 2016 and now, he was referring to something that actually happened. Dave Smith says, "I like that. I'm starting to get into the conspiracy swing now." Hey, David, you wait, mate. You've got quite a journey ahead of you. "I think Trump rigged it in 2016, given his Russian friends might not be such a thing." "And in 2020, it was all above board." "Nah, that's impossible. It must be the other way round, because reasons." "No, it's not because reasons. It's because of evidence that's being presented." Steve Palmer says, Rudy Giuliani says to Steve, "Rudy Giuliani, Trump's mate and attorney, is saying it's a fraud, Steve, so it must be true. The same Rudy Giuliani who the woo-woos claim had a big hand in the 9/11 attacks. You couldn't make it up." I never, as I said, you'll have to address that comment, Steve Palmer, to the woo-woos who make that claim about 9/11. I don't. Rex Makepeace says, "I agree what you said." This is to Steve mumbling. "I agree what you said makes a lot of sense. I have mixed minds. Nothing surprises me, but rigging an entire US election watched by millions from around the world would be a massive risk for anyone to pull off. Trump ran for office for 4 main reasons. Number 1, legacy. To go down in history as President of America. 2, finance his own business empire. Number 3, impose sanctions on foreign competitors like the Chinese. And number 4, helping out his billionaire friends with tax relief packages, government contracts and grants." Not true. Of course it is a massive risk, but the thing is, they took a huge risk, but they did it very blatantly. They had enormous confidence that they could get away with it, that the mainstream media would simply portray it as fringe, so they could literally go like that with a blue felt tip pen on the vote count. It's incredibly arrogant. They must know that they are running a risk, but honestly, they decided to pull it off. They're that desperate to keep Trump out for 4 years. And it could be their undoing. It could be they have. It could be that their run of luck is running out. I hope so. But you're wrong about all these things you said about Trump here. No, he was put in by the good guys to get rid of the deep state. Trump's businesses raked in $1.9 billion of revenue during his first 3 years in office by using his hotel resorts to host government meetings, foreign diplomats, senior White House officials, etc. Most of it using taxpayers' money. Is there anything wrong with that? Is there anything wrong with him? He has a private hire facility at his resorts. In fact, this is really going to cook your noodle, right? In 1997, it was at one of his resorts in Scotland hosted the Bilderberg Group. Yeah. So these governments and foreign diplomats and White House officials, they come to him and said, "Could we hire one of your room, please? Could we hire a room or one of your hotels for a big meeting? We want to have a conference here." He says, "Yeah, sure, this is available for private hire. Go ahead." It's no different than hiring a room above a pub, except the scale of it all and the poshness. And of course it's taxpayers' money. These are state institutions he is basically contracted to. He's not doing anything wrong here. He's earning money off that. What's wrong with that? This is the whole point of running a private hire facility. It's a kind of a business. Watch Him, He's Not One of Us says, when stressed, I retreat into the explicit adventures of Horny Cat. Let's have a look at this. What have we here? Oh, the explicit adventures of Horny Cat starring Priest Martyr. Oh, that's right. It's on BitChute. All right. I'll have to leave that for now. But anyway, any more replies here? Oh, Rex Makepeace says, and yet in reply, BZ Garson says in reply to Rex Makepeace, and yet he still falls to return. I think you mean fails to return his tax returns. Oh, I see. So you're bringing up the tax stuff again, are you? I think that's all been sorted. That was all part of the impeachment crap, which was disproved. Steve says in reply to Rex, with a record like that, he should make a great politician. It seems Trump is the only one who doesn't know that he's lost. And we have here a link to, let me guess, is this the boat?
Businesses have been there for us.
Oh, hang on. Ad, let me just shut the ad. Is this the one with the boat sinking? No, it's Biden doing his... Oh, right.
Is now making...
All right, it's America decides 2020. Prominent Republicans back presidential election result. I know Bush and the others were all behind Biden. Of course, they've been from the start. All the never-Trumpers, all the neocons, they were all back in Biden. And Steve Mumbling thinks that's hilarious. Well, I don't know about that. I think it's pretty pathetic and not very funny. God, how many more have we got now? Rex Makepeace says... I've put a comment. I put a tag on that one. Hi Ben, I thought I would share this link showing Biden's hand symbols. Scary. Let's have a look. Jim Carrey, Joe. Oh my God, yeah, Kamala and no, that's not Kamala. I think that's his wife. God, she's quite nice. What's she doing with an old creepy old get like him? But they were doing like the whole Longhorn thing, yeah. How do these old politicians pull such gorgeous birds? I mean, it's like Karen Pence. I mean, the second lady. She's lovely. She really is. But that's weird, and they're doing that sort of satanic symbol thing again, isn't she? Aren't they? Steve Mumbling says, leaders from all around the world are congratulating Biden and ignoring Trump's ridiculous claims. I know. I've talked about that, including your mate Boris Johnson and the Australian and PM. And David Smith. Boris is next, hopefully. You want him voted out? Well, to be honest, you mean Boris losing and being voted out, David? Well, the way Boris is behaving at the moment, I have to agree with you. Well, let's see what the Australian PM has said about... Who is the bloody Australian Prime Minister? Who is... Oh, God, who is it? Scott Morrison. Let's see what he has said then, eh? Scott Morrison. Scott Morrison says, here we go. Congratulations to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Australia wishes you every success in office. The Australia-US alliance is deep and enduring, and built on shared values. I look forward to working with you closely as we face the world's many challenges together, mate. Twat. Utter twat. It's the same bloody crap that Boris wrote, and it's disgusting. It's really sad. It's very, very sad that it's just all this... There's been a media announcement. Media does not decide these things. We go. Steve Mumbling has once again made a mention of his timing, my collar movements. Right? It's like the slurping. He used to do this. Steve Palmer used to go... He used to put a timestamp every time I did this. Honestly, man, you need to get out some more, get a date. Oh, and Rust Test Bot 0541 says pulling the collar or scratching the neck is often a sign of emotional tension, discomfort, or telling a lie. Oh my goodness me. We have Darren Brown watching. Steve Palmer is Darren Brown in disguise. Steve Palmer says best of friends. Let's put a reply on here. Well, so this is going to be longer than I thought, actually. It's not going to be a full comment reply. Oh, we have Giuliani and Trump haven't shaken hands. Right. Blah-de-blah. This is lawyer, isn't it? BZ Garson says, you started the video wetting your pants with excitement by telling us there was so much evidence of voter fraud. It was amazing. Throughout the rest of the video, you failed to produce one scrap of evidence whilst reading out loud the live stream comments and agreeing with every crazy theory that was posted. Why didn't you show us the evidence? BZ, I'm doing that now. Well, I have presented you. I've already presented you actually a link to the blog article I wrote about this, where I show you basically somewhere where you can watch Giuliani's press conference. You do realise that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just a basic précis of the Pennsylvania situation. There are 11 states under investigation. All right, I can't dedicate a live stream to reading all that out. I don't even know a lot of it because some of it is kept confidential. Oh, how's this going? Oh, it's still recording. Okay. Steve Mumlick says, "Wakey, wakey, Ben." What's this? It's another YouTube link, and it is.
At Ring, we reinvented the doorbell.
American Size 2020. Oh, I've seen this, Steve. This is I think this is Biden doing his thing again. Yeah, it is. Oh, it's the Australian thing with Biden doing this. Okay, final comment now from Ed Kaler. Although I'll do a quick refresh to see if there's any more. Why can't Trump go to the White House anymore? Because it's all for Biden. Because it's for Biden forbidden. Very good, Ed. Great, that's really well done. Okay, I'm just going to refresh and then check out the comments. Any have appeared since I began this, and usually they are. Here we go. Steve Palmer says, "Can't see anything about your..." What is it? Oh, hang on. Oh, which video was this in? Watch him, he's not one of us. Okay, I think it's all on the same video. It's this one. Post-US election live streams. Let's have a look. Okay, I might just need quickly to go to the... It's possible they're in the spam folder. One moment. Comments. Comments I haven't responded to. Held for review. No, there's none. Okay, so I'll go back to this. Can't see anything about the 140-year-old voting. Are you sure you're not exaggerating against Nen, the 104-year-old who voted? I think you mean confusing it. Possibly. It was a 140-year-old. There was someone who died, not a 140-year-old old, older than that, someone who died in 1880, not born in 1880. So, and then there's Watch Him, He's Not One of Us, says, oh, there's a link to there's another YouTube link here. What's this? Vic Bob Glassblowers Afternoon Delights Episode 5. Oh, it's who's this?
What temperature? What sort of RPM you twiddled your...
Oh, this is that's a comedy thing. I remember that. So anyone else? Anything else got to say here? Someone else? Any put anything on here? I think that's it. Well, anything else? Any other comments you have, I will deal with in the upcoming comments reply video. Because no doubt there'll be people sending me them. Because okay, I will be doing a comments reply video later in the month, in a couple of weeks, where I'll continue answering comments, including comments you post on those 4 videos that I've just done the comments to, and all the other videos, of course, and other comments that has happened. I will, of course, if anything happens in the election of significance, I will immediately inform you with another video, but also possibly a blog article. So always check the Herpanwo Voice blog as well, because I might just do a brief written piece. Herpanwo-voice.blogspot.co.uk. So keep your eye on that blog as well. Register to it so you get updates. And I will be doing other things as well, because I can't just election myself out. I'm still wearing this hat, of course, but I can't just keep doing election continuously. It's too much. It's no fun. It'll drive me nuts, honestly. Anyway, but thank you all of you for watching this update. 1 week since the election. What will happen after 2 weeks? Or maybe even less than that. Some people said look for Wednesday and Friday. Now Wednesday is the 11th of November, so it's an 11/11, and then of course Friday is Friday the 13th. And who knows? That could mean something. I don't know specifically. But thank you very much for watching this video. I'll be back soon with more. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.